Authenticity is something that you can't fake. You
Right.
can't fake it in person, and you can't fake it on social media. People have this kind of a detector of body authenticity, and this was a question that I really looked at in for quite some time, because I try to understand what makes some person authentic and why some person seems to be inauthentic. And I came to the realization that this very understanding and owning of who you are really makes you authentic. So you own yourself just the way you are, with your strengths and your weaknesses, with your peculiarities, with your upsides of your story, and also the lessons that you've earned, and that you speak from your heart. You put all of your passion into the message that you are giving.
So we have a real treat for you today. We have a personal branding expert. She's a co-author of the book called The Brand Named You and Business, Life, and the Universe. And they're both best-selling books. She is the former CEO of Forbes in Estonia, and she brought Forbes to the Baltic area. And she helps entrepreneurs stand out from the competition. And who doesn't want to stand out from the competition? So please welcome, I feel like we should have a bunch of applause here, Olesija Saue.
Hi, it's such a pleasure to be here today and talk about a topic which is very, very dear to my heart, about personal branding.
Absolutely. I'm excited to talk to you about this. So you have quite a story. So tell me, how did you discover your personal brand to begin with?
Well, I haven't been thinking about my personal brand for the first part of my career, and it's really been like a sky, like a rocket launch, because I went straight into business while I was still in the university. Later, American dream career here in Estonia, going to steel galvanizing plant, and then a couple of months from the position of the human resources manager to the position of general manager of the plant. And I followed with the establishment of my own steel trading company. And by the age of 25 or so, I can say that I pretty much had everything.
That's just insane at such a young age.
Life that I could possibly have, but then the crisis of 2008, 2009 hit all of the different industries hard. And in a matter of months, I pretty much lost everything. And it's been quite a journey for me since then. And I really started to reimagine myself, because we are used to identify ourselves and our success with something outside of us. But who are you if you don't have anything left? And that was the first bit of the puzzle, because I really understood that no matter what happens to us, we all have something unique, and we can apply it into any business that we want to start. And this is our personal brand DNA. So our unique strengths, our unique values, our unique story, and the way that it shapes us, and also our style, and then how we make people feel. But at the same time, I also started to help companies around me to get into business. And when I try to position big corporate brands on the social media, I came to the realization that people on social media don't want to hear polished stories that we always see on the press releases, and we want to see real people behind those brands. But there was a big problem of how can we bring CEOs and founders in the social media so that their personal brands would be authentic. and also the marketing teams and agencies could help them to amplify their personal brands. And I started to look into the theme of personal branding around 5 years ago. I looked and read literally everything on that. And all of the personal branding experts were saying, well, you have to do that and you have to do that. But nobody actually
Nobody
said that.
really probably knew what it was, right? At that
Yes,
point?
yes, and nobody actually showed you a clear roadmap of you start here, you take this step and that step, and then once you do all of those things, you will end up where you want to be. And that was the reason why we wrote a book on personal branding. We first published it in Estonian because at that point, up till now, there were no books on personal branding. And then we also got encouraged to publish it in English. And it really, what makes it stand apart is that it's a very clear roadmap. It's like a workbook where you have 100 steps, a lot of questions, but all of them help you to first look inside, understand who you are and what makes you unique, and then, and only then, to start to position yourself and then make the packaging attractive.
Okay. Wow. 100 steps. That's a lot. But I think if you do that, it's going to be really thorough, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So is a personal brand what people, at least on the outside, is what they think of you and talk about you, or is it more than that?
In 2012, Jeff Bezos gave the best definition of personal brand at that point. He said that personal brand is what people think or talk about you once you have left the room. And I think it was a pretty good description before COVID, before our lives went digital, because now we have kind of two twins existing at the same time. We have a personal brand in the physical world, and we all have it, irrespective of whether we manage it strategically or not. It's just a question of whether I let it happen or I take active part in managing it and directing it into where I want to go. But at the same time, I would say today that personal brand is not what people say about you once you have left the room. It's more about what people know about you before you enter the room. And your digital presence and your digital personal brand can either open different doors to you, or it can sabotage everything that you are doing in the physical world, quite often without even your realization that this is happening. And personal branding is becoming more and more important because we have to create a holistic understanding of ourselves, both offline and online.
That sounds like a big task though. So it's interesting what you said is what it's also what people know about you before you enter the room. So how do you manage that? I mean, like what would be some of the first steps? I guess let me just rewind. What's the first steps to have a personal brand? And then how do you manage that? Because there is so much information out there in the digital world.
Yes, there are a lot of different ways to manage your personal brand, but I would like to share with our listeners the 7 steps framework. It's just a set of questions, and you can basically do the one pager for your personal brand, and it will help you to really get a clear understanding where you're going. And the same way that we are creating plans for our companies, once we enter the markets, we also have to think about ourselves as products or services. We have to start with a clear understanding of our goal of personal brand. branding. Where do I want to be in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years? Whether it to be a thought leader, whether I want to attract ideal customers, I want to find potential investors, I want to attract the best employees. Those different goals would require different strategies, and better you understand what are you doing and where you're going, the more successful you will be. The second part, which I think is the core of personal branding, of authentic personal branding, is understanding of who you are. So this personal brand DNA, your strengths, your values, your style, the way you dress, the way you speak, and also your story. And once you understand it, you will be able to market it authentically without really thinking about, oh, I don't want to sell myself, but that would really find something that nobody else has, and then you will be really connected with your mission and your why. Then you have also to understand very clearly what is your target audience. We would love to sell to everybody. We would love to attract different types of customers, but in reality, a strong personal brand cannot appeal to everybody. If you want to be liked by everybody, it will be just somewhere in the middle.
That's
something
right. You won't really be
average.
Yourself. Yes.
Yeah, and you won't be yourself. So you have to think about your, I like to call it the zone of influence. So who are the people who have to know about they can be your existing and potential customers, but also on a much wider level, people who can help you, people who can support your different outlets out there. So you could position yourself in the right way, but not to the whole audience which is out there, but starting from a small building blocks. Once you know who is your target audience, you can also craft your value proposition around your personal brand, because your uniqueness is the best sales advantage that nobody can really copy. And then you can also put it in the wording that would also speak to your customers, attract your ideal customers. For example, if you focus on your strengths, how your strengths can help your customers. For example, I have a value, one of my top values is passion, but how my passion can help my customers. So you can think both ways of and then look at this coin from two sides. Then you can also think about your content strategy coming from your personal story, coming from your value proposition. Where do you want your customers to get, and how you can help them to get there? Because quite often we are thinking, okay, I have to post, but what I'm going to post about? So we're very focused on, news releases about ourselves. But if you think look at it strategically, you can always find topics which are core topics to us, to our personal brand, and build all of our presence around that, and also help our customers go from this, this unknowingness that I even have a problem, to the position where they understand that they have a problem, they understand that they need a solution, and they also want to work with you because you help them to bridge this gap. And only once you understand very clearly what is your goal and who is your target audience, can we really talk about choosing the right channels for your personal brand. And the channels can be traditional media and everything that we're doing offline, but also strategic usage of social media. So there is no right or wrong answer. Right. You use Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or TikTok. It's just a matter of where are your customers and what is the shortest way to get to your goal. And also one important thing that quite often people forget, how would you measure the success of your personal brand?
That's a great
Whether it could be
point. Yes.
some vanity KPIs like how many followers I have, how many likes do I get, how many features I get on some podcasts or articles, or I would measure it in a number of real customers, real money in the bank account. And once you go through all of those questions and answer to yourself, because we all have the answer somewhere inside of us. You would have a very clear understanding of what you have to do, absolutely must do, and which of the steps perhaps are not so beneficial. And in a nutshell, everything that we're doing with personal branding in particular, but also in marketing and in sales generally, we're always looking at three spaces: things that are building our visibility, things that are building our credibility, and only then we can talk about making an offer and selling ourselves, our products through personal branding.
That's great. I love how you broke that down into 7 steps. Then, of course, leading into the ultimate, right? What is your visibility, your credibility, and then ultimately the offer, which is where you're going to move your business forward in making money. Let me ask you, because I think I read this somewhere about uh, aligning your is your brand aligned with your personality?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know if it's aligned with your personality?
Well, personal brands work when they are authentic, and authenticity is something that you can't fake. You
Right.
can't fake it in person, and you can't fake it on social media. People have this kind of a detector for the authenticity, and this was a question that I really looked at in for quite some time, because I try to understand what makes some person authentic and why some person seems to be inauthentic. And I came to the realization that this very understanding and owning of who you are really makes you authentic. So you own yourself just the way you are, with your strengths and your weaknesses, with your peculiarities, with your upsides of your story, and also the lessons that you've earned, and that you speak from your heart. You put all of your passion into your message that you are giving, and people relate to this passion, because well, we all make all of our decisions emotionally, whether we acknowledge this or not. And all of the things, when we're sharing our story, when we're talking about our values, when we're talking about our why, and if we're doing this with passion, with inner passion, this is what is selling without selling.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I totally agree with you. I think everyone knows instantly if you're authentic or if you're inauthentic. Are you in there to help someone, or are you just there to make money, just a fast dollar? So, absolutely. So, what do you see? Like, what's the most common mistake that you see business owners do today?
I would bring out two of them.
Okay.
One is trying to cope with somebody else. I want to be like Elon Musk. Oh, I want to be like Gary Vee. Oh, I want
Right.
to be that or this. But one of the things that all of those iconic, I would say, personal brands have in common: Richard Branson doesn't want to be Elon Musk, and Elon Musk doesn't want to be next Steve Jobs. He's just who he is,
Right.
owning who he is. There are people who adore them, and there are people who hate them. And this is one of the definitions of strong personal brand. Most of us try to fit in somewhere in between. So I have in my consulting business quite few people who are ready to say this is who I am, and so this is just white or black. There are no gray areas. The majority try to smooth the corners and present them in a more likable way. We all try to be liked, But there is a paradox in that, because people like people who are authentic, who are true to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And another big mistake, people don't understand the power of social media, and they don't take a strategic approach to building and managing their personal brand online. And I see this especially in case of traditional businesses who are successful offline. But if you look at their presence in digital world, quite often you can't understand what company is just a man and a dog in the garage, and which company has millions upon millions in revenue.
Right, right, exactly. So, what would be your recommendation for the very first step if someone has not thought about their personal brand at all, or they have, or their digital strategy is not working? What would be the very first step that you would recommend for them to do today, to put into place today?
I would suggest to everybody to start from understanding why exactly they're doing that, what drives them forward. Because building your personal brand requires a lot of steps outside of your comfort zone. It requires commitment and consistency. And if you just decide that, okay, I will do this, I will try to do this, in a couple of months, you will just drop it. But if you're driven by a bigger mission, you will find this inner strength to do all of those right steps. And I know I have done quite many interviews with successful people in different industries across different countries. And they all say, I wouldn't say that I am strategic in my personal branding, but I have a very big passion for this industry, and I know exactly what impact only I can make on the world around me. And once they have this, they take all of the right steps. They put themselves out there to deliver their message. They are speaking from their heart, and they attract people who are like them. And the business comes from that.
Yes, absolutely. I think if you do those steps and if you have that passion, it's going to propel. If you have this personal brand and you're very passionate about what you do, it's going to propel your business forward. I think it makes a really big impact. Have you seen in your experience? So let's say, have you worked with someone that really hasn't had a personal brand, but then put in all the effort, went through all the steps? What was the difference once they worked through everything in their business on their personal brand side?
Well, as I've already mentioned, that all of us have a personal brand,
Mm-hmm.
and all of us are influencers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of how big is our circle of influence, whom do we influence, and there could be two sides of the problem. So you have a strong personal brand, but you don't know how to package it
Right.
attractively. Or you focus on packaging, but you are lacking substance. In case you understand who you are, you can package it in a way that it would also resonate with your customers. And that's quite often the main challenge that we are having with CEOs of different companies. We help them sort of decode their personality and put it out there so that they maximize their impact. And once again, people, when they're thinking about personal brands, they think that there are like two options only. Either I don't have a personal brand at all, or I have to be known, household name for me to have a personal brand. But especially in business, for majority of us, we don't need to have such strong brands like Richard Branson or Elon Musk. We just need to have a very clear understanding who should know about us, quite many cases. It can be 1,000, 10,000 people around the globe, and you would have already a business that is growing on steroids. So this is very clear understanding of where do you need to go and what is the most effective path to get there. Because publicity can get you a lot of exposure, but it doesn't mean that it will bring you a lot of business.
Right.
So the focus of what are you doing on everyday basis is what is important.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's interesting because I totally agree with you. And then you brought up the names again of like Elon Musk and Richard Branson. I feel that they are very passionate, but also, and you kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, is they're in essence very bold. They have put their stake in the ground. They know who they are, and it's okay if they offend some people, because they know who they are and they know what they want to accomplish. But yet, so many of us are kind of, again, in that middle where you said we kind of round the corners a little bit because we want to be likable. Is it better to be, I guess, more bold? Really just say, this is who I am? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, you can do this in different styles. You can be very straightforward, but you can also be nice and polite, but still owning who you are. But I believe that this really owning your story and really putting a very strong claim on this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing this. Is the most important one, because I see this quite often that people don't take time to understand why I'm doing this. What is it for me?
Yes.
Okay. So if I
Yes.
don't understand that, then I'm just, I'm interested. I can be interested in personal branding. But if I'm not committed to do that, then if some opportunities would present themselves, I would be doing something else. But this inner drive that this is what only I can do. And in the area that I'm coming from, personal branding is considered quite often as some kind of a vanity fair. People are saying that, oh, I don't want to go out and start to talk about myself. But I believe that people don't understand that it's not about you. It's about your customers and about the impact that only you can have on their lives. And if you would not do this, then you're literally robbing those people of the opportunities to better their world and their lives. So yeah, personal branding is not about you. It's about the impact that you can have in the world.
Absolutely. I love that. That is such an amazing statement. So I hope everyone caught that. First, why are you doing this and how important personal branding is? Because if you are not out there doing what your passion is and what you have a real knowledge over, you really, really are robbing the world of the benefit that only you can provide. And I just want to thank you, Olesija. It really has been a pleasure to talk to you. And thank you for providing so much value. And everyone, please, again, look for the link and reach out to her on LinkedIn or any of the other links that we will provide, because she truly is a great resource and she has a passion to help entrepreneurs really stand out from the competition. So thank you again.
Thank you. It was my pleasure to be here. And yeah, feel free to reach out to me on social media. I talk on LinkedIn about branding and passion and purpose. And I really feel that this would give each of us a very distinctive sales advantage if we try to find it within ourselves.
Absolutely. So thank you again.
Thank you.